The political tension inside the opposition coalition appears to be getting deeper, and now fresh reports are pointing to serious disagreement involving former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, supporters of Peter Obi, and key figures connected to the African Democratic Congress. What was supposed to look like a united political movement ahead of 2027 is suddenly beginning to show signs of internal crisis, distrust, and power struggle. And from the way things are unfolding, many Nigerians are now asking one major question: can this coalition truly survive the battle over who becomes the consensus presidential candidate? For weeks, conversations around opposition unity have continued to dominate political discussions across Nigeria. The idea sounded attractive to many citizens who believe the opposition needs a stronger and more coordinated strategy if they want to seriously challenge the ruling party in the next general election. But as talks moved deeper behind closed doors, reports began to emerge that not everyone inside the coalition was comfortable with the direction things were going. Some insiders reportedly feared that certain political interests were already trying to position themselves ahead of others before any official agreement had even been reached. Before we continue, if you enjoy balanced political analysis and updates like this, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others following Nigeria's political developments closely. And most importantly, drop your thoughts in the comments section, because this conversation is becoming one of the biggest political stories shaping the road to 2027. Now, according to several political discussions and local reports making rounds, tensions started rising after conversations about adopting a consensus candidate became more serious inside the ADC coalition arrangement. On the surface, consensus sounds simple. Political parties often use consensus to avoid expensive and divisive primaries. Instead of multiple aspirants fighting openly, party leaders attempt to agree on one candidate everybody can support. But in reality, consensus politics can also create suspicion, especially when different camps feel the process is being manipulated behind the scenes. Supporters of Peter Obi reportedly became uncomfortable with the growing perception that some powerful figures close to Atiku were attempting to dominate the negotiation process. According to some political commentators, there were concerns that Obi could eventually be pressured into accepting an arrangement that might weaken his own political strength or reduce his influence within the coalition. While no official statement has fully confirmed every allegation being circulated online, the public disagreement and tension between different camps have become increasingly visible. What makes this situation even more sensitive is the history between Atiku and Peter Obi. Nigerians will remember that both men contested together under the PDP platform during the 2019 presidential election, with Peter Obi serving as Atiku's running mate. At the time, many opposition supporters believed the partnership represented a major political alliance between the North and the Southeast. But after the 2023 elections, political realities changed dramatically. Peter Obi's performance during the 2023 presidential election reshaped conversations around youth participation, urban voting patterns, and grassroots political movements. Even though he did not win the election, his support base expanded beyond traditional regional politics. Millions of young Nigerians, especially first-time voters, became emotionally invested in his political movement. That growing support also changed how other opposition politicians now relate to him politically. Today, Peter Obi is no longer seen by many observers as just another opposition figure who can easily step aside during negotiations. His supporters strongly believe he commands a genuine voter movement that cannot simply be absorbed into another politician's structure without clear guarantees. And that is partly why the current ADC disagreement is attracting so much public attention. On the other side, Atiku Abubakar remains one of the most experienced opposition politicians in Nigeria. He has contested for the presidency multiple times and still maintains strong political networks across several regions of the country. His camp reportedly believes experience, structure, and national political reach remain critical factors for defeating the ruling party. Supporters of Atiku also argue that coalition politics requires compromise from everybody involved, not just one side. But this is where the real problem begins. Many Nigerians, observing the situation, believe both camps are entering the coalition talks with different expectations. Some Obi supporters reportedly want a fresh political direction with less control from old political power structures. Meanwhile, some established politicians inside the coalition may prefer a more traditional political arrangement where senior figures maintain significant influence over decision-making. That difference in political vision is now creating visible cracks. Reports indicate that some individuals close to Peter Obi became suspicious that the consensus candidate idea could eventually be used to pressure Obi into withdrawing support under conditions that may not favor him politically. Some online commentators even describe the situation as an attempt to trap Obi politically, although such claims remain part of broader political debate and interpretation rather than officially verified facts. Still, perception matters heavily in politics. Once supporters begin to feel distrust toward coalition negotiations, internal unity becomes difficult to maintain. And that is exactly what appears to be happening now. Another major issue complicating the situation is ambition. Nigerian politics is deeply competitive, especially when presidential elections are involved. Every major political figure entering a coalition naturally wants influence, recognition, and strategic advantage. Even when politicians publicly speak about unity and national interest, internal negotiations often involve difficult conversations about power sharing, party control, campaign structures, regional balance, and future appointments. And because these negotiations usually happen privately, rumors and suspicion tend to grow quickly outside the meeting rooms. Some analysts believe the ADC coalition may have moved too quickly into public excitement before fully resolving internal disagreements. At first, the idea of multiple opposition figures coming together generated enthusiasm among many Nigerians, frustrated with economic hardship and political division. But as details remain unclear, supporters are beginning to demand transparency. Questions are now being asked openly. Who truly controls the coalition discussions? Will there be transparent primaries or a closed-door consensus arrangement? If consensus is adopted, who decides the candidates? Will every camp genuinely accept the outcome? And perhaps most importantly, can Peter Obi's movement remain united with politicians many of his supporters previously opposed politically? Those questions are becoming harder to ignore. Political observers also point to another sensitive factor: regional expectations. Nigeria's political landscape is heavily influenced by regional representation and power balance. Many Obi supporters strongly believe the Southeast deserves a stronger opportunity at national leadership after years of political marginalization arguments. Atiku's political base, meanwhile, remains heavily rooted in the North and other established networks nationwide. Because of this, any suggestion that Obi should automatically step aside without a fair process is likely to trigger resistance among his supporters. At the same time, Atiku's camp may also feel that long-standing political experience and existing national structures should not simply be ignored. So instead of unity becoming easier, the coalition discussions may actually be exposing deeper, unresolved tensions inside the opposition. Some Nigerians are already comparing the situation to previous coalition attempts in the country, where internal rivalry eventually weakened the alliance before elections arrived. Political coalitions often sound powerful at the beginning, but sustaining them requires trust, discipline, sacrifice, and careful negotiation. Once camps begin suspecting manipulation or hidden agendas, internal conflict can spread rapidly. Interestingly, despite the growing controversy, neither Atiku nor Peter Obi has completely shut the door on cooperation publicly. Both politicians continue speaking about the importance of rescuing Nigeria, strengthening democracy, and improving governance. But political language and political reality are sometimes very different things. Behind public speeches, serious negotiations are clearly taking place, and Nigerians are watching closely. For ordinary citizens, this story matters because opposition unity could significantly shape the 2027 elections. If the opposition remains fragmented, the ruling party may benefit from divided votes once again. But if opposition leaders successfully build a united and trusted coalition, the political landscape could become far more competitive. That is why every sign of disagreement inside the ADC coalition immediately attracts national attention. Another interesting dimension is the role of social media. Online supporters from different camps are already engaging in heated debates, accusations, and counter-accusations. Some Obi supporters claim old political elites are trying to control the movement. Meanwhile, some Atiku supporters argue that coalition politics cannot work if every camp refuses compromise. These online battles may look ordinary, but they also influence public perception and grassroots political energy. And in modern Nigerian politics, perception is extremely powerful. Many young Nigerians especially became politically active during the last election cycle, and they are now more emotionally invested in political developments than before. They follow coalition meetings, analyze statements, debate strategies online, and react quickly to any sign of political betrayal or manipulation. That means opposition leaders now face more public scrutiny than in previous election periods. One wrong move could damage trust very quickly. At the same time, some political analysts are warning Nigerians not to rush to conclusions because coalition negotiations are naturally complicated. They argue that disagreement does not automatically mean collapse. In fact, internal debate can sometimes strengthen political alliances if managed properly. According to this view, what Nigerians are seeing now may simply be intense negotiation between powerful political actors trying to protect their interests before reaching final agreements. But whether the coalition survives or not may depend heavily on how transparent and fair the process eventually becomes. If party members and supporters believe decisions are being imposed unfairly, resistance will likely continue growing. But if the coalition creates a process that different camps see as credible and balanced, there may still be room for compromise. For now, however, uncertainty remains high. Nobody can confidently say exactly how the ADC coalition talks will end. Some believe the crisis will eventually be resolved through negotiation. Others believe the disagreement may deepen further as 2027 approaches. And there are also those who think completely new alliances could still emerge before the election season fully begins. That unpredictability is part of what makes Nigerian politics so intense and closely followed. And honestly, many Nigerians are less interested in political drama itself and more focused on what these politicians actually plan to do about the country's major challenges: insecurity, inflation, unemployment, electricity problems, rising living costs, and economic hardship. For many citizens, coalition talks only matter if they eventually produce leadership capable of improving everyday life. So while politicians negotiate power and strategy, ordinary Nigerians continue hoping for stability, accountability, and real solutions. As this story continues developing, more statements, meetings, and political maneuvering are likely to emerge in the coming months. Supporters from every side will continue defending their positions strongly, and the pressure surrounding the consensus candidate debate may become even more intense. But one thing is already clear: the opposition coalition project is facing one of its biggest tests yet, and how leaders handle this moment could shape Nigeria's political direction heading into 2027. If you followed this story closely, Share your honest thoughts in the comment section. Do you think a true opposition coalition is still possible? And if consensus becomes necessary, who do you think should emerge as the candidate? Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who want balanced updates on Nigeria's political scene. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll keep following the developments as the story unfolds.